Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. I'm Janelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. The Billings City Council names its top choice for city administrator.
Narrowing it down from a field of 4, the only Montana resident on the docket is tabbed to take over and run the Magic City.
The council's pick a man who's already served 2 Montana cities. The unanimous choice, Chris Kukulski, shown here answering questions with the other finalists last night.
Kukulski was the city administrator in Bozeman from 2004 to 2017, and before that, Kalispell. Currently, he is an executive vice president for business development at Zoot Enterprises in Bozeman.
He has a lot of relationships that are, that are built here, that he's been here so long, with legislators, local people here, as well as in Bozeman. There's going to definitely be a learning curve that he's going to have to adhere to, but I think a lot of the similarities to Bozeman that we have here should help him on the plus side of things to get him started moving on this community.
The city council members tell us the plan is to get to work with Kukulski on a contract right away. His start date to be determined during those negotiations.
If you recall, last December when the council first tried to hire a new city administrator, the city's top choice turned down the job after negotiations broke down over salary and benefits.
County offices statewide sifting through a wave of absentee voter applications after a mailer was sent out to more than 90,000 people incorrectly stating they were not registered.
Yellowstone County Elections Administrator Brent Rutherford tells us the phones have been ringing off the hook in his office with people concerned over their registration status. Now, that mailer stated the recipient was not registered to vote absentee, and it then provided them an application to send in. And while these mailers are calls to action around election time are not at all uncommon, Rutherford says this group actually missed the mark because they sent the majority of those mailers to people who were already registered to vote.
Not only did it cause confusion, but also a major headache for the elections office, which has spent hours inputting information that it already had.
So we've been contacted by at least 1,000 people in the last couple of days through the mail, emails to myself, phone calls, people walking in, and we've only had 6 people out of those 1,000 that actually were not on the absentee list. So there's a couple in there that are getting covered, which is nice, but it's a very inefficient way to do it.
Rutherford tells us anyone who has questions can always call his office.
He also points out that any correspondence directly from the elections office will have an official election mail seal on the envelope that only the elections office is allowed to use.
In the campaigns for the U.S. House and U.S. Senate in Montana this year, one of the biggest issues on the minds of voters is health care.
MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison takes a look at how the major candidates differ on this key issue. Tonight, he zeroes in on the U.S. House race.
Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte says his party has made progress on health care by repealing the federal mandate that individuals must buy health coverage and getting rid of other insurance regulations.
I believe we should be moving to more options for consumers, peeling back this Obamacare that's driven premiums up and benefits down. One-size-fits-all government-run health care is not going to get us to where we need to be.
Those choices include association plans, which allow businesses to pool their coverage for employees, and more use of consumer health savings accounts. He also says a proposal by some Democrats to have Medicare for all will bankrupt the country. But that's not what his Democratic challenger, Kathleen Williams, is proposing. She wants to let people 55 and older buy into Medicare coverage at no additional cost to the government.
This wouldn't require a tax increase to cover because people would be paying their way, and it's about free choice.
She says putting more of that age group into Medicare would help stabilize the individual market for health insurance, which she agrees is much too expensive for some people. However, she opposes repealing Obamacare, saying it protects people with pre-existing health conditions and helps low and middle-income people afford health coverage.
This piecemeal way of doing it is creating both uncertainty, and there's a projection that, tens of thousands of Montanans would lose their health care. So I very much differ with him on that. And I think we need to fix the system, not just pick it apart bone by bone.
On prescription drugs, Williams also wants to allow the federal government to negotiate directly with drug manufacturers to get prices down. Gianforte has called for more transparency in pricing but hasn't outlined any specific reforms. Libertarian Eleanor Swanson says existing programs like Medicare must be made financially sound rather than add to them. As you can see, on this issue, there are clear differences between the two major candidates. The same can be said for the U.S. Senate candidates, who we'll talk about tomorrow. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thank you, Mike.
And you can read Mike Dennison's more detailed article on the candidates' healthcare proposals and views on our website at ktvq.com.
It was a bad day on Wall Street today. In fact, the third worst in history. The Dow closed down 832 points, the worst since February of this year. The Nasdaq also took a plunge, closing 4% down, its worst day since the Brexit referendum back in June of 2016. Those most affected were the technology-based stocks such as Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Netflix. But according to market analysts, this is all part of the natural ebb and flow of the markets.
For the last few years, we've had almost unusually low market volatility, so it's been kind of smooth sailing for a lot of investors. And this year, what you've seen is volatility has picked up, so stocks are moving around a lot more than they were the last few years. But in reality, we expect these kinds of swings. Actually returning to more normal levels of volatility. If you look historically, we see drops like this happen pretty frequently, and it's not really outside of the norm.
Some analysts point out, however, the stocks are sliding sharply because investors are worried about those rising interest rates.
Turning to weather, there are some who like the cold. My flowers, however, do not. Bob, when can we expect that first frost?
Well, and that's a very good question. We've already had the first frost for this year, and it's kind of late. We got some dates for you. Let me show you what we have here. It's time for our fall frost and freeze dates. Now, our earliest first frost is August 27th. That's our 24th, I should say. And the average first frost is September 24th. We had our first frost on September 30th. That's when we dipped below 32. We went to 31 degrees. Now, the earliest hard freeze, that's usually about September 11th, at least on average it is. And the average first frost, that is average first hard freeze is October 4th. And right now, tonight, we could see our earliest hard freeze. We could go down to 26 degrees tonight, and if we get that cold, that'll be a hard freeze for us, and that'll be the first one this year. Of course, it's October 10th, so they're actually kind of late this year. Jay, you know?
All right, thanks so much, Bob. After tearing a path through the Florida Panhandle tonight, Hurricane Michael is taking aim at Alabama and Georgia. The storm has already claimed at least one life, the victim killed by a falling tree branch. CBS's Hillary Lane reports.
We're getting our first look at the devastation left behind by Hurricane Michael. The roof and walls of this Panama City school were torn off by the force of its 155-mile-an-hour winds. It's one of countless buildings that sustained major damage. The storm was just shy of Category 5 strength when it made landfall in the Panhandle Wednesday afternoon.
Hurricane Michael is the worst storm that the Florida Panhandle has ever seen.
It was also the third most powerful hurricane ever to hit the U.S. mainland after Camille and Andrew.
It was terrifying, honestly. There was a lot of noise. I mean, we thought the windows were going to break any time.
Michael's storm surge brought up to 14 feet of water onto the shores of the Panhandle. It was also expected to drench the region with as much as a foot of rain. As night fell, the hurricane was moving northeast at about 16 miles per hour towards Alabama and Georgia. Those states, along with the Carolinas and Virginia, are now bracing for downpours that could produce flash flooding. One early estimate put the initial cost of the storm damage at over $10 billion. Hillary Lane, CBS News, Panama City Beach.
Now in Florida alone, hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses are without power. Some 19,000 utility workers from at least 18 different states were standing by to get the lights back on.
Still ahead on tonight's 10 o'clock news, agriculture and conservation, two sides of the same coin. Up next, we'll look at how they coexist.
Plus tonight, chimney sweeps play an important role in your health and safety. Find out how.
And in sports, Scott hears from Paul Petrino on his return home as his Vandals take on the Bobcats this Saturday.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.